The champagne flute shatters against my kitchen floor at exactly 9:47 p.m. on a Friday night, and I'm on my hands and knees with a dustpan when he walks in. Not walks, materializes. That's what it feels like. One moment I'm alone in the industrial kitchen of the Ferretti estate, scrubbing counters that cost more than my yearly salary, and the next moment there's a man in a three-piece suit standing in the doorway, watching me crawl around on marble tile in my cleaning uniform. "You're still here?" His voice is accented, Italian, smooth like expensive whiskey, with an edge that suggests he's not used to being questioned. I rock back on my heels, dustpan full of crystal shards, and look up, and up. He's tall, maybe 6'2", with dark hair that's slightly too long to be corporate, pushed back from a face that's all sharp angles and harder edges. His eyes are pale green, unusual against his olive skin, and they're currently assessing me with the same intensity I imagine he uses to evaluate business deals, or threats. "Mr. Ferretti." I climb to my feet, hyper-aware that I'm in a polo shirt with the cleaning company logo and polyester pants, while he's wearing what I'm fairly certain is a custom suit that costs more than my car. "I didn't realize you were home. I'll be out of your way in 10 minutes. "Cristiano," he corrects, moving into the kitchen. He has the kind of walk that owns every room he enters, shoulders back, movements controlled, the subtle swagger of a man who's never been told no. "And I'm not home. I live in the city. I'm just here to collect something." He crosses to the wine refrigerator, pulls out a bottle. I catch a glimpse of a French label I can't pronounce. And that should be the end of our interaction. He's the owner. I'm the housekeeper. The cleaning service sends me here twice a week to maintain a house he barely uses. And in 6 months of this arrangement, I've seen him exactly 3 times. We don't have conversations, except he doesn't leave. He opens a drawer, retrieves a corkscrew, and leans against the counter that I just disinfected, watching me dump crystal shards into the trash. "You broke one of my glasses." It's not a question or an accusation, just an observation. "I'll replace it." I have no idea how much a single champagne flute costs in a house like this, but I'll figure it out. I always do. "With what money?" He tilts his head, studying me with those unsettling eyes. "That glass is baccarat. Vintage. Part of a set that belonged to my grandmother. You'd need about $800. My stomach drops. $800 for one glass. Then I'll pay it in installments, deduct it from my paychecks. "Relax, Harper." The way he says my name, like he's tasting it, rolling it around to see if he likes the flavor, makes something flutter in my chest that has no business being there. "I don't care about the glass. I'm curious why you're here at 10 p.m. on a Friday night. Your service contract says you come Tuesdays and Fridays, 9 to 5. I had to reschedule this morning. Migraine." It's not a lie, but it's not the whole truth either. The whole truth is that I took a morning shift at the diner because I'm $300 short on rent and my landlord has stopped accepting excuses. I left a message with your assistant. He uncorks the wine with practiced ease, pours a single glass. Doesn't offer me one. Why would he? "You work multiple jobs." Again, not a question. Is that a problem? It's an observation. He takes a sip, and I try very hard not to watch his throat as he swallows. "You clean houses during the day. Where else?" This conversation is veering into territory that makes me uncomfortable. "That's pretty personal. I'm paying for your time. I'm making conversation." He sets the glass down, and there's something predatory in the way he shifts his weight. Subtle, but I've been around enough dangerous men in my life to recognize the body language. "Where else do you work, Harper?" I should tell him it's none of his business. I should finish cleaning and leave. Instead, I hear myself answer. "Riverside Diner. Night shifts, 4 days a week, sometimes weekend mornings." "So you clean my house, then serve food until midnight, then sleep for what, 4 hours? Before doing it again." He picks up his wine, studies the color in the overhead light. "That's not sustainable." "It's been working fine for 3 years. I grab the cleaning caddy, ready to move to the next room and end this bizarre conversation. Harper. The command in his voice stops me mid-step. I have a proposition for you. Every self-preservation instinct I've developed in 28 years of hard living starts screaming. Men who look like Cristiano Ferretti don't make propositions to women who look like me unless there are strings attached. Big ones, possibly illegal ones. I'm not interested in any— $4,000, he interrupts, for one evening, tomorrow night, 6 hours of your time. I freeze. $4,000. That's 2 months of rent. That's my maxed out credit card paid off. That's my car registration I've been dodging and enough left over to fix the check engine light that's been on for 6 months. For what? My voice comes out steadier than I feel. He smiles, and it's not a nice smile. It's the smile of a man who knows he's already won. To be my date to a wedding. I should say no. I should absolutely, unequivocally say no, because there is no universe in which a man who lives in a house with $800 champagne flutes needs to pay his housekeeper $4,000 to attend a wedding unless something is very, very wrong with this picture. But I don't say no. Instead, I hear myself ask, why me? Cristiano sets his wine glass down on the marble counter with a soft click. He's quiet for a moment, and I can see him calculating, deciding how much truth to give me, how much to withhold. Men like him are always calculating. The wedding is for my cousin. Luca's marrying a girl from a very traditional family. Old money, old values, old expectations. He pauses, and there's something bitter in his expression. My family has been pressuring me to bring someone appropriate, someone who won't embarrass us in front of the Morettis. And you think showing up with your housekeeper is appropriate? I can't keep the skepticism out of my voice. They don't know you're my housekeeper. He picks up the wine bottle, examines the label like it holds answers. They'll know what I tell them, which is that you're a graduate student at Columbia, working on your master's in art history. You're intelligent, well-read, capable of holding a conversation about Renaissance painting and Italian architecture. You're beautiful enough to be believable as someone I'd date, but not so polished that you'd seem manufactured. I should be offended by that assessment, the clinical way he's breaking down my marketability. Instead, I'm stuck on one word. Beautiful? His eyes meet mine, and for the first time since he walked into this kitchen, I see something that isn't calculated. Don't fish for compliments, Harper. You know what you look like. The thing is, I don't. Not really. I know I'm passably attractive. I get hit on enough at the diner to understand I'm not invisible. But beautiful? That's a word for women who have time for makeup beyond mascara, who can afford haircuts at salons instead of cutting their own hair in the bathroom mirror, who don't have perpetual dark circles from working 70-hour weeks. Why not just hire an escort? I ask. This is New York. There are services for exactly this kind of thing. Because escorts look like escorts. He says it matter-of-factly, no judgment. They're trained to be perfect, which makes them memorable. I need someone who can blend in. Someone real. Someone disposable, I correct. He doesn't deny it. Someone who understands this is a business transaction. You play the role for 6 hours, smile when appropriate, laugh at the right jokes, let me touch you in ways that suggest we're intimate, and when the evening is over, you take your money, and we never speak of this again. Touch me. The words hang in the air between us, loaded with implications I'm not sure I want to examine. Define touch. My voice is sharper than I intend. Hand on your back, arm around your waist. Maybe I brush hair from your face or lean in to whisper something. Nothing sexual, Harper. Just the kind of casual intimacy that couples display. He refills his wine glass, and I notice his hands, strong, scarred knuckles, a silver watch that probably costs more than I make in 6 months. You'll be perfectly safe. Safe. It's such a relative term. I've been perfectly safe before, and it still ended with bruises I had to cover with long sleeves. I need to think about it. It's a stalling tactic, and we both know it. You need $4,000. He's not being cruel. just accurate. I saw the eviction notice on your apartment door when I drove past your building last week. You live on Morrison Street, 3rd floor, Unit 12. Your landlord taped it to the door where everyone can see it. Ice floods my veins. You drove past my apartment? I was in the neighborhood. He says it casually, like it's perfectly normal to know where your housekeeper lives. I wanted to see what kind of person shows up to work with a migraine, never complains, and scrubs grout with a toothbrush because she thinks I won't notice the details. I don't know what that is. Creepy, flattering, deeply unsettling? You're asking me to pretend to be your girlfriend at a family wedding where I'm guessing there will be a lot of people who know you well enough to spot a fake. Which is why I'm offering you $4,000 instead of $400. He moves closer, and I smell his cologne now, something expensive and woodsy with an undertone of bergamot. You're smart, Harper. You're observant. You've spent 6 months cleaning my house, which means you know more about me than most people I call friends. You've seen my bookshelves, my music collection, the art on my walls. You know I drink Macallan 18, prefer Italian wine over French, and keep a framed photograph of my mother in my bedroom even though she died 15 years ago. He's right. I do know these things. It's impossible not to learn intimate details about someone when you're responsible for maintaining their private space. I know he sleeps on the right side of the bed. I know he reads philosophy before sleep, currently Nietzsche. I know he gets his shirts custom-made in Milan because the tags are hand-sewn with his initials. I know he owns 17 watches and rotates them seasonally. I know that despite the huge house and obvious wealth, he lives simply. No drugs in the bathroom, no evidence of wild parties, just expensive taste and meticulous order. What happens when someone asks me a direct question I can't answer? I challenge. What happens when your mother asks how we met, or your cousin wants to know our first date story? My mother is dead, he says quietly. But my aunt will ask those questions, which is why you're coming here tomorrow at noon. I'll brief you on everything you need to know. We'll create a backstory that's believable. I'll tell you who to avoid, who to charm, and exactly what's expected. 6 hours. I repeat his timeline. The ceremony starts at 5. Reception goes until midnight, but we'll leave by 11. Respectful, but not so early, it seems suspicious. He reaches into his jacket pocket, pulls out a business card, and holds it out to me. That's my private number. Text me by tomorrow morning. Yes or no. If yes, be here at noon. If no, we never speak of this conversation, and I'll find someone else. I take the card. It's heavy stock, embossed, with just his name and a phone number. No company, no title. The kind of card that doesn't need explanation because if you have it, you already know who he is. And if I do this, I say slowly, if I show up tomorrow and play your girlfriend for 6 hours, what guarantee do I have that you'll actually pay me? He reaches into his jacket again, and this time he pulls out a wallet. He counts out 40 crisp $100 bills and sets them on the counter between us. $4,000 in cash. More money than I've seen in one place in my entire life. Half now, he says, as a show of good faith. The other half when we leave the reception tomorrow night. I stare at the money. It's real. This is actually happening. Why aren't you worried I'll take this and disappear? I ask. His smile is sharp. Because you're not stupid, Harper. You know I know where you live. You know I can find you if I need to, and you're also not a thief. If you were, you'd have pocketed something from this house months ago. He nudges the money closer to me. Besides, you need the full amount. $2,000 won't solve your problems. $4,000 will. He's right about that, too. I hate that he's right. My hand shakes slightly as I reach for the bills. They're cool to the touch, crisp, perfect. I fold them carefully and tuck them into my pocket, and the weight of them feels like both salvation and a trap snapping shut. Noon tomorrow, I say. I'll be here. Good. He picks up his wine and the bottle. Lock up when you leave. The alarm code is 2817, my mother's birthday. I trust you remember where the panel is. He's halfway to the door when I find my voice again. Cristiano? He stops, looks back over his shoulder. What happens if I mess this up? If I say the wrong thing, or your family sees through me, or you won't. He says it with absolute certainty. You've survived 3 years working 2 jobs on 4 hours of sleep. You've kept a smile on your face while dealing with people who treat you as invisible. You're tougher than you think, Harper, and tomorrow night, you're going to prove it. Then he's gone, and I'm alone in a kitchen that still smells like his cologne, with $2,000 in my pocket and the growing certainty that I've just made either the best or worst decision of my life. I don't sleep that night. I should. God knows I need it. But instead, I lie in my studio apartment, staring at the water stain on the ceiling, running through every possible way this can go wrong. What if someone at the wedding recognizes me? New York is big, but the service industry is small, and I've waited tables at enough high-end events to know that wealthy families run in tight circles. What if I use the wrong fork, or laugh at the wrong moment, or freeze when someone asks me about my fictional art history degree? What if Cristiano Ferretti isn't who he seems? What if this whole thing is a setup for something darker? Trafficking, blackmail, some scheme I'm too naive to see until it's too late. But then I think about the eviction notice, about the collection agency that calls twice a day, about the way my car makes a grinding sound that the mechanic said means I've got maybe a month before the transmission fails completely. I think about $4,000. At 6 a.m., I text the number on his card. I'll be there at noon. His response comes 30 seconds later. Bring an overnight bag. You're staying here tonight. The wedding is in the Hamptons. We'll drive out tomorrow morning. My finger hovers over the screen. Overnight bag. Staying at his house. This is escalating faster than I anticipated. That wasn't part of the deal, I type back. It's logistics, he responds. The wedding is 2 hours away. If we drive back to the city and then you go home, you'll get to your apartment at 2 a.m. and you work Sunday morning. This way, you sleep in a guest room, get a full night's rest, and I'll have you back to the city by noon Sunday. Adjust your rate if you want. I'm not unreasonable. I chew my bottom lip, weighing options. The practical part of me knows he's right. The paranoid part of me knows that overnight in his house means I'm completely under his control, with no easy escape. Same rate, I finally type, but I need to know your real name. The typing indicator appears, disappears, appears again. You already know my real name. I know the name on the deed to the house. I want to know who you really are, what you really do. This time the pause is longer. Almost a full minute passes before his response comes through. Tomorrow, noon. I'll tell you everything you need to know. It's not a promise, but it's something. At exactly 11:58 a.m., I pull my dying Honda Civic through the gates of the Ferretti estate. The duffel bag on my passenger seat contains everything I own that's remotely appropriate for a high society wedding. A black dress I wore to my college roommate's funeral 3 years ago. The only pair of heels I own that aren't scuffed beyond repair. Makeup I borrowed from my coworker Maria because mine is mostly drugstore clearance items. I look like I'm about to rob a bank, not attend a wedding in the Hamptons. Cristiano is waiting on the front steps when I park. He's dressed down today, dark jeans, a white button-down with the sleeves rolled to his forearms, no shoes. It's jarring to see him so casual, and somehow more intimidating. The suit was armor. This is just him. You're punctual, he says as I climb out of the car. His eyes sweep over my jeans and t-shirt, my hair pulled into a messy ponytail, the duffel bag slung over my shoulder. Good. We have a lot to cover. Should I be taking notes? I mean it as a joke, but he nods. If it helps you remember, yes. He gestures for me to follow him inside. We'll start with your background, then move to mine. Then we'll drill on potential questions until you can answer them without hesitation. He leads me not to the kitchen, but to what I've always assumed was his office, a room on the second floor that I'm not contracted to clean. Inside, it's exactly what I'd expect. Dark wood, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a massive desk with 2 monitors, leather furniture that probably costs more than my annual salary. He gestures to the sofa. I sit. He settles into the chair across from me, and suddenly this feels less like a briefing and more like an interrogation. Full name, he says. Harper Quinn Sloan. Age? 28. Where did you grow up? Albany. Moved to the city for college. Never left. Parents? I hesitate. This is where my real life gets messy. Mother died when I was 16. Father is not in the picture. Something flickers in his expression. Recognition, maybe, or understanding. Siblings? One brother? Tyler, he's in California. I don't mention that Tyler hasn't called me in 2 years, or that the last time we spoke, he asked me for money I didn't have. Did you actually go to college? He asks. Yes, NYU. Dropped out junior year when the financial aid ran out, and my mother's medical debt caught up with me. He absorbs this information without judgment. What were you studying? English literature. I laugh, and it comes out bitter. Very practical. Can you fake knowledge of art history? I minored in it before I left. I've been to the Met more times than I can count. It's free if you know when to go. I can hold a conversation about Renaissance painting and Italian architecture well enough to be convincing. Good. He stands, moves to the bookshelf, and pulls down a photo album. Now, my family, this is what you need to know. For the next 2 hours, Cristiano walks me through the Ferretti family tree like he's preparing me for an exam. I learn that his father, Giovanni, died 10 years ago. Heart attack, though Cristiano's tone suggests there's more to that story. His mother, Giuliana, died when he was 23, cancer, and the grief in his voice when he mentions her is the first real emotion I've heard from him. He has 2 cousins he's close to, Luca, the groom, who runs the family's legitimate construction business, and Marco, who Cristiano describes as volatile and tells me to avoid. There's an aunt, Bianca, who will ask invasive questions, an uncle, Tommaso, who drinks too much and flirts inappropriately, a grandmother, Nonna Ferretti, who is 92 and sees everything. The Morettis are the bride's family, he continues, showing me a wedding announcement from a society page. The bride, Isabella, is stunning, all dark hair and perfect bone structure. They're old money, very traditional, very Catholic. They know my family is involved in certain business ventures, but they're choosing to overlook it because Luca has been working to legitimize our operations. Involved in certain business ventures. I repeat his phrasing. You mean illegal? He looks at me for a long moment. How much do you want to know, Harper? Enough that I don't accidentally say something that gets us both killed. His laugh is short, sharp. Fair enough. He closes the album, leans back in his chair. My family has been in import-export for 3 generations. Some of what we import is legal, some isn't. I've spent the last 5 years transitioning us toward legitimacy, real estate development, restaurants, construction contracts, but we have enemies, people who benefited from the old ways, people who don't like that I'm changing things. That's why you need me. Understanding clicks into place. You need to look stable, settled, like a man with a future, not a past. Exactly. He stands, moves to the window, looks out over the manicured grounds. Luca's marriage to Isabella is the final piece. It's a merger as much as a wedding. Her family's name, our family's resources. But if I show up alone, if I look like the same bachelor playboy the tabloids have been writing about for years, it undermines everything we've built. So I'm window dressing. Your validation, he turns back to face me. You're proof that I'm capable of commitment, that I'm not a liability. What happens after tomorrow? I ask. When people ask about me next week, next month, when they want to meet me again? I'll tell them we broke up, that it was mutual, that you went back to finish your degree in California, or took a job in Europe, or whatever story makes sense. He says it so easily, like he's done this before. By the time anyone thinks to question it, you'll be a memory. And what about me? I hear the edge in my voice. What happens when your family Googles me and finds out I'm not a Columbia graduate student? What happens when someone recognizes me from the diner or sees me cleaning houses? They won't Google you. That would be rude. He smiles slightly. And if they do, I've already created a digital footprint for you. Harper Sloan has a LinkedIn profile listing her as a graduate student at Columbia, studying art history under Professor Raymond Chen. She has an Instagram with 43 followers, mostly private, showing tasteful photos of museum visits and coffee shops. She volunteers at a literacy nonprofit on weekends. She's real enough to pass a casual background check, but not so prominent that anyone will remember her 6 months from now. I stare at him. You created a fake life for me? I created a credible backstory. There's a difference. He checks his watch, the silver one I've seen on his dresser. Now, we need to establish our relationship narrative, how we met, how long we've been dating, key moments that define us as a couple. My head is spinning. This is so far beyond what I imagined when I said yes. You've done this before, haven't you? Hired someone to play a role? No, he says it firmly. I've brought dates to family functions, but they were always real relationships, however brief. This is the first time I've needed to manufacture one. Why now? Why not just find an actual girlfriend? Because actual girlfriends come with complications. He returns to his chair, fixing me with those pale green eyes. They have expectations. They want access to my life, my world, my future. They fall in love, or they pretend to, and then I have to extract myself carefully to avoid making enemies. This way is cleaner. You get paid, I get what I need. No one gets hurt. No one gets hurt, I echo. You really believe that? I believe in managing expectations. He leans forward, elbows on his knees. Harper, I need you to understand something. The people at this wedding tomorrow, some of them are dangerous. Not to you. You're under my protection, and that means something in this world. But they're watching. Always. If they sense weakness, if they think I'm vulnerable, if they believe for 1 second that you're someone I actually care about, that puts you at risk long after tomorrow night is over. The weight of what he's saying settles over me like a cold blanket. So you're protecting me by making sure everyone knows I'm temporary. I'm protecting you by making sure everyone knows you're real, but not significant. A girlfriend, not a liability. Someone I like, not someone I love. And how do we show that difference? He considers this. Affection, but not devotion. I touch you like I want you, not like I need you. You smile at my jokes, but you're not afraid to disagree with me. We look good together, but we don't look inevitable. That's incredibly specific. I've spent my entire life reading people, Harper. I know what love looks like, and I know what infatuation looks like. We're aiming for the latter. Okay, I take a breath, trying to ground myself. So how did we meet? For the next hour, we craft our love story. We met 6 weeks ago at the Morgan Library. I was sketching in the atrium. He was there for a private event. He approached me. We talked about illuminated manuscripts and medieval art. He asked for my number. First date was coffee at a small place in the village, followed by an impromptu walk through Washington Square Park. Second date was dinner at an Italian restaurant in Little Italy where he grew up. Third date was the night he knew he wanted to keep seeing me. We went to a gallery opening in Chelsea, and I told him his interpretation of a contemporary piece was pretentious bullshit. And instead of being offended, he laughed. It's a good story. It feels real. By the time we've repeated it 3 times, I almost believe it myself. Physical boundaries, Cristiano says. We need to establish them now. I told you I'd need to touch you. What's acceptable and what isn't? My throat goes dry. Define touch. I'll keep my hand on your lower back when we walk. I'll hold your hand during the ceremony. I might kiss your temple, your cheek, maybe your forehead. If we're sitting, my arm will be around you or my hand on your knee. He watches my face carefully. At some point, probably when we're saying goodbye, I'll kiss you, on the lips. Brief, appropriate, the kind of kiss that suggests familiarity without being performative. You want to kiss me? It's not a question, but I need to hear him say it. I want to sell this relationship. A kiss accomplishes that. He pauses. If you're not comfortable with it, I can work around it, but it will be more convincing if you are. I think about $4,000. I think about the eviction notice, the collection calls, the grinding sound my car makes. I think about the fact that I haven't been kissed in almost 2 years, and the last time I was, it ended with me changing the locks on my apartment. Brief, I say. Appropriate. And you ask first. Something shifts in his expression. Approval, maybe. Agreed. He stands, extends his hand. Let's practice. Practice what? Being a couple. Stand up. I do, feeling ridiculous. We're standing in his office at 3 in the afternoon, and he wants to practice what? Holding hands, but when his hand settles on my lower back, I understand. It's not sexual, not exactly, but it's possessive, familiar. The kind of touch that says mine without saying anything at all. His hand is warm through my t-shirt, and I'm suddenly aware of how much bigger he is than me, how easily he could hurt me if he wanted to. Relax, he says quietly. You're stiff. If we walk into that wedding and you're rigid every time I touch you, people will notice. I'm not used to being touched. Then get used to it. It's not cruel, just practical. Come here. He guides me to stand in front of him, then wraps his arm around my waist from behind, pulling me back against his chest. I stiffen automatically, and his other hand comes up to rest lightly on my shoulder. Breathe, he instructs. I'm not going to hurt you, Harper. This is just proximity. You need to learn to be comfortable with it. I force myself to take a breath. Then another. Slowly, incrementally, my muscles start to uncoil. He's warm and solid behind me, and he smells like that expensive cologne, and something underneath that might just be him. Clean skin, faint sweat, the leather of his watch strap. Better, he murmurs. Now turn around. I do, and suddenly we're face to face, inches apart. His hands settle on my hips, casual and confident, and I have to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. Put your hands on my chest, he says. I do, and I can feel his heartbeat under my palms, steady, unhurried. He's not affected by this at all, I realize. This is just a transaction to him, a rehearsal. When we're at the wedding, he continues, this is how we'll stand when we're talking to people. Close, but not inappropriate. Intimate, but not sexual. You'll laugh at something someone says, and you'll lean into me slightly. Like this. He demonstrates, shifting his weight so his chest presses more firmly against my hands. Natural. Easy. This doesn't feel natural. It will. Muscle memory. By tomorrow night, you won't even think about it. He's probably right, but that doesn't make it less unsettling. I'm hyper-aware of every point where our bodies are touching, my hands on his chest, his hands on my hips, the way my forearms rest against his abs. He's muscular in the way of someone who works for it, not gym-sculpted but naturally strong. Look at me, he says, and I realize I've been staring at his collar. I drag my eyes up to his face. When we're standing like this, you look at me like you want me to kiss you. I know you don't, but you pretend. Let me see it. This is humiliating, but I try. I soften my expression, let my lips part slightly, imagine what it would feel like to actually want this man to kiss me. It's not that hard, honestly. He's objectively attractive, and I'm human. Something changes in his eyes. They darken slightly, and his grip on my hips tightens just a fraction. Good, he says, his voice rougher. That's good. Hold that thought. He leans down, slow enough that I could pull away if I wanted to, and presses his lips to my forehead. It's the chaste kiss he mentioned earlier, but my heart is racing anyway. See? He pulls back, releasing me. Not so bad. I step away, needing space. My skin feels hot where he touched me, and I'm annoyed with myself for reacting. This is acting. It's not real. What time do we leave tomorrow? My voice is steadier than I feel. 7 a.m. That gives us time to drive out, check into the hotel, and get ready. The ceremony is at 5, reception starts at 7. We'll stay until 10:30, 11 at the latest, then drive back here. You'll sleep in the guest room again tomorrow night, and I'll take you home Sunday. Hotel? I thought we were staying at his house. The wedding is at the Moretti family estate in East Hampton. I've booked a suite at the Hunting Inn. Separate bedrooms, shared living space. We need to maintain appearances, and that means arriving together, leaving together, and being seen as a couple throughout the weekend. That wasn't part of the original deal. I'm pushing back because I need to establish some boundary, some sense of control. Consider it a bonus. The room is already paid for, and you'll be more comfortable there than driving back and forth. He moves to his desk, picks up a garment bag I hadn't noticed. I had this delivered this morning. Try it on. What is it? Your dress for tomorrow. I took the liberty of estimating your size based on... He stops, and I see the exact moment he realizes how creepy that sounds. I clean houses for a living, Cristiano. You've seen my body in a cleaning uniform. It's not exactly a secret. He hands me the garment bag. The guest room is down the hall, second door on the left. There's a bathroom attached. Take your time. I carry the bag to the guest room, which is bigger than my entire apartment. The bed is a king, covered in expensive linens. There's a sitting area with a fireplace. The bathroom has a soaking tub and a shower with jets. I unzip the garment bag, and my breath catches. The dress is emerald green silk, floor length, with a halter neckline that will leave my back completely bare. It's elegant and sophisticated, and so far out of my price range that I'm afraid to touch it. There's a note pinned to the hanger in precise handwriting. Shoes and accessories are in the closet. Everything should fit. If it doesn't, text me and I'll have alterations done tonight. I open the closet. Inside are gold heels, a small clutch, and a jewelry box containing diamond earrings that are either excellent fakes or worth more than my car. I strip out of my jeans and t-shirt, slip the dress over my head. The silk is cool against my skin, and when I zip it up and look in the mirror, I don't recognize myself. I look expensive. I look like I belong in Cristiano Ferretti's world. I look like someone who could break my heart. I find Cristiano in the kitchen, cooking. It's so domestic and unexpected that I stop in the doorway, just watching. He's diced vegetables with professional precision, and something is simmering on the stove that smells incredible. It fits, he says without turning around. He knew I was there. Of course he did. It's perfect. I move into the kitchen, the dress swishing around my legs. You didn't have to do this. I needed you to look the part. Consider it a work expense. He plates pasta, homemade, I realize, not from a box, and carries both dishes to the dining table. Sit, eat, you're too thin. I'm not. You're surviving on diner food and whatever you can afford at the bodega. I've seen your grocery receipts in the trash. He pours wine, red, Italian. Tonight you eat real food. I should be offended by his presumption, but the pasta smells too good to argue. I sit. The first bite is heaven. Rich tomato sauce with basil and garlic, perfectly al dente pasta, fresh parmesan. I make an involuntary sound of appreciation, and when I look up, Cristiano is watching me with something like satisfaction. My mother taught me, he says. She said a man who can't feed himself is a man who can't survive. She was right. I take another bite, trying to pace myself so I don't inhale the entire plate. This is incredible. We eat in companionable silence for a few minutes. The wine is smooth and full-bodied, and I probably shouldn't be drinking on an empty stomach, but I'm already 2 glasses in and feeling warm and loose. Can I ask you something? I say finally. You're going to anyway. Why me? Really? You could have hired a professional actress, someone trained for this. Why risk it with your housekeeper? He sets down his fork, considers the question seriously. Because you're already in my life. You've seen the parts of me I don't show people, the books I read, the music I listen to, the fact that I keep my mother's rosary on my nightstand even though I haven't been to church in 10 years. You know me, Harper. Not the version I show my family or my associates, but the real version. And that makes you believable. You think you know me too, I say quietly. I know you work yourself to exhaustion because you're terrified of ending up back where you started. I know you're smarter than your circumstances suggest, and you're ashamed of that gap. I know you haven't had anyone take care of you in a very long time, and you don't trust it when someone tries. He leans back, wine glass in hand. Am I wrong? He's not wrong. He's so completely, utterly not wrong that I want to throw my wine in his face. You don't know anything about me, I say instead. I know you're lying right now. He smiles slightly. It's okay, Harper. We all have our armor. Tomorrow you'll wear yours. So will I, and we'll both pretend we're something we're not. And what are you pretending to be? A man with a future. He drains his wine, instead of a man trying to outrun his past. The conversation shifts after that, lighter topics, safer ground. He asks about my favorite art at the Met, and I tell him about the Temple of Dender, how I used to go there on my lunch breaks from the diner and just sit, pretending I was somewhere else. He tells me about growing up in Little Italy, about his mother making Sunday dinners for 20 people, about the weight of expectations when you're born into a family business you didn't choose. By the time we finish eating, I'm relaxed in a way I haven't been in months, maybe years. You should rest, Cristiano says, standing to clear the plates. We have an early morning. I'll help. You're my guest tonight, not my housekeeper. Go, sleep. Everything you need is in the guest room. I want to argue, but exhaustion is pulling at me. I'm not used to wine or real food or conversations that don't revolve around orders and tips. Cristiano? I stop at the doorway. Yes? Thank you. For dinner, and for... I gesture vaguely at the dress, the house, the surreal situation I've found myself in. All of this. Thank me when it's over, he says, and you're $4,000 richer. I fall asleep in the most comfortable bed I've ever experienced, in a house that costs more than I'll earn in my lifetime, preparing to pretend to be someone I'm not for a man I barely know. And the most terrifying part is how easy it's starting to feel. The alarm on my phone goes off at 6 a.m., and for a disoriented moment, I forget where I am. Then I see the vaulted ceiling, the fireplace, the early morning light streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, and reality crashes back. Today is the wedding. There's a knock on the door, and Cristiano enters without waiting for permission, carrying a tray with coffee, fresh fruit, and pastries that smell like they came from an actual bakery. Breakfast, he announces, setting the tray on the nightstand. We leave in 45 minutes. Hair and makeup will meet us at the hotel. Hair and makeup? I sit up, clutching the sheet. I'm wearing an old t-shirt I sleep in, and I'm suddenly aware of how intimate this is. Him in my bedroom, me barely dressed, morning light making everything feel too real. I told you. You need to look the part. His eyes sweep over me. Clinical. The dress is stunning, but you need professional styling to complete the image. I can do my own makeup. I'm sure you can, but today you don't have to. He moves to the door, pauses. Harper, don't overthink this. It's just one day. Tomorrow you go back to your life, and this becomes a story you'll tell someday. Maybe you'll even laugh about it. He leaves before I can respond. I shower in the enormous bathroom, using products that probably cost more per ounce than my rent. The hot water is endless, the pressure is perfect, and I let myself stand under the spray longer than I should, knowing this is temporary. Tomorrow I'll be back in my apartment with the shower that fluctuates between scalding and freezing, with the water pressure that barely qualifies as a trickle. At exactly 6:45, I'm dressed in jeans and a sweater, my hair still damp, the garment bag with the green dress over my arm. Cristiano is waiting in the foyer, wearing dark slacks and a black sweater that probably costs more than my monthly income. He looks like he stepped out of a magazine, effortlessly elegant, casually powerful. Ready? He asks. No, absolutely not. Yes. His car is a black Mercedes, sleek, expensive, the kind of vehicle that turns heads. He opens the passenger door for me, takes the garment bag and my overnight duffel, stows them in the trunk with practiced efficiency. The drive to the Hamptons is quiet. Cristiano doesn't attempt conversation, and I'm grateful. I watch the city give way to suburbs give way to sprawling estates, and try to calm my racing heart. Nervous? He asks finally, as we cross into Southampton. Terrified. Good, fear keeps you sharp. He glances at me, then back to the road. Remember, you're Harper Sloan, graduate student, art history. We met 6 weeks ago. You're intelligent, opinionated, not easily impressed. You like me, but you're not in love with me. We're exploring where this goes. Exploring where this goes, I repeat. Got it. And Harper? His hand leaves the gear shift, reaches over to squeeze mine briefly. "You'll be fine. Trust me." I want to. God help me. I want to trust him. But I've been burned by men who seemed trustworthy before, and this situation has red flags written all over it. We arrive at the Hunting Inn just after 9. It's exactly as elegant as I expected. Historic building, manicured grounds, the kind of place where rooms start at $1,000 a night. Cristiano checks us in with easy confidence, and the staff treats him like royalty. "Mr. Ferretti, welcome back. Your suite is ready, Mr. Ferretti. Please let us know if you need anything, Mr. Ferretti." The suite is 2 bedrooms connected by a living room with a fireplace and a balcony overlooking gardens. My bedroom alone is bigger than my apartment. "Hair and makeup will be here at 11, Cristiano says, checking his watch. "That gives you 2 hours to relax, order room service if you want, charge anything to the room." "Where will you be?" "Making calls, confirming details, mentally preparing to spend 6 hours with my family." He loosens his collar, and I catch a glimpse of ink on his collarbone, a tattoo I didn't know he had. "I'll check in before the stylist arrives." He disappears into his bedroom, and I'm left alone in luxury I didn't earn. I order coffee from room service because I can, because it's free, because tomorrow I'll be back to Bodega Coffee and this will be a memory. The woman who brings it treats me with deference I'm not used to, and I tip her $20 from the cash in my pocket because I remember what it's like to survive on tips. At 10:55, there's a knock on the door. I open it to find 2 women, one carrying a professional makeup kit, the other with a tackle box full of hair tools. "Harper," the first woman says. "I'm Simone, this is Keiko. Cristiano hired us for the full treatment. Let's make you stunning." For the next 2 hours, I'm primped and polished and transformed. Simone does my makeup with an artist's precision. Dramatic eyes, nude lips, contouring that makes my cheekbones look sculpted. Keiko curls my hair into loose waves, pins half of it up in a style that's elegant but not too formal. When they're finished, I barely recognize myself. "Cristiano has excellent taste," Simone says, packing up her kit. "That dress is going to look incredible on you." They leave, and I'm alone with my reflection. I look expensive, polished, like someone who belongs in Cristiano's world, like someone I'm not. I slip into the green dress, zip it up, step into the gold heels. The diamond earrings catch the light, and I send up a silent prayer that they're fake, because if I lose one, I'll be in debt for the rest of my life. There's a knock on the connecting door between bedrooms. "Come in," I call. Cristiano enters, and he's transformed too. He's wearing a charcoal suit that fits him like it was made for his body, which it probably was, with a white shirt, no tie, the collar open just enough to be elegant without being casual. His hair is styled back, and he's clean-shaven, and he looks like money and power and danger wrapped in expensive fabric. He stops when he sees me. Just stops. For a long moment, he doesn't say anything. He just looks at me, and something shifts in his expression. Something I can't quite read. "You look..." He stops, starts again. The dress was the right choice. "You look pretty good yourself." I smooth my hands over the silk, nervous. "Do I pass? Will your family believe this?" He crosses the room, and suddenly he's right in front of me, close enough that I can smell his cologne, see the flecks of gold in those pale green eyes. "They'll believe it," he says quietly. "The question is whether you will." Before I can ask what he means, he steps back, offers his arm. "Ready, Harper Sloan?" I take his arm, feel the solid strength of him through the suit fabric. Ready as I'll ever be. We walk out of the hotel together, and I'm aware of the way people look at us. The doorman, the valet, the couple checking in at the desk. We look like we belong together. Like we're real. The drive to the Moretti estate takes 20 minutes. The property is massive. Gated entrance, tree-lined driveway, a house that's more mansion than home. Cars are already parked along the circular drive, and I can see guests in formal wear heading toward a white tent erected on the lawn. Cristiano parks, comes around to open my door. His hand finds the small of my back as we walk, and I remember his instruction. Relax into his touch. "Cristiano." A man in his 50s approaches, all smiles and expensive suit. "You made it. Tommaso." Cristiano's voice warms slightly. "Of course, I wouldn't miss Luca's wedding." Tommaso's eyes slide to me, curious and appraising. "And who is this?" "Harper Sloane," Cristiano says smoothly, his hand tightening slightly on my back. "Harper, this is my uncle, Tommaso Ferretti." I extend my hand, smile the way I practiced. "It's wonderful to meet you. Cristiano has told me so much about his family." "All good things, I hope." Tommaso shakes my hand, holds it a moment too long. I see Cristiano's jaw tighten. "Mostly good," I say, gently extracting my hand. "With a few entertaining stories." Tommaso laughs. "She's got spirit. I like her already." He claps Cristiano on the shoulder. "Don't let this one get away, nephew. Pretty girls with backbones are rare." He wanders off, and Cristiano guides me toward the tent. "That was perfect," he murmurs in my ear. "Friendly, but not too eager. Keep that up." We enter the tent, and I'm immediately overwhelmed. There have to be 200 people here, all dressed in designer clothes, all moving with the confidence of old money. Crystal chandeliers hang from the tent ceiling. There's a full bar, past hors d'oeuvres, a string quartet playing Vivaldi. I don't belong here. Cristiano's hand moves from my back to my hand, lacing our fingers together. "Breathe," he says quietly. "You look beautiful. You know enough about art and culture to hold your own in any conversation. And you're with me. That's all that matters." "Cristiano Ferretti!" A woman's voice, warm and delighted. "You brought someone." I turn to see a woman in her 60s, elegant in navy blue, approaching with open arms. Cristiano releases my hand to embrace her. "Zia Bianca," he says. "You look beautiful." "Flatterer." She swats his arm, then turns her sharp gaze to me. "And who is this?" "Bianca, this is Harper. Harper, my aunt. Bianca Moretti. The bride's mother. This is the woman I need to impress most." "Mrs. Moretti, it's such an honor." I extend my hand. "Thank you so much for allowing Cristiano to bring a guest. Your home is absolutely stunning." "Please, call me Bianca." She takes my hand, but she's studying me carefully. "Harper, that's an unusual name. My mother was a literature teacher. She loved Harper Lee. It's the truth, and it feels good to say something real. To Kill a Mockingbird." Bianca's face softens. "A masterpiece. Your mother had excellent taste." "She did." Past tense, and Bianca catches it. "I'm sorry for your loss. It's genuine, not performative." "Thank you. It was a long time ago." I feel Cristiano's hand return to my back, grounding me. "How did you meet my nephew?" Bianca asks. And here we go. The test. "The Morgan Library," I say, falling into our practiced story. "I was sketching in the atrium, and he walked by and told me my perspective was off." Cristiano chuckles. "I was trying to be helpful." "You were being condescending." I look up at him, and the fondness in my expression isn't entirely faked. "But then you offered to buy me coffee to make up for it, and I decided you weren't completely insufferable." Completely insufferable. He repeats my words, smiling. High praise. Bianca laughs, delighted. "I like her, Cristiano. She's not afraid of you." "Nobody should be afraid of me, Zia." "And yet so many are." Her expression turns serious. "It's good to see you with someone who sees past all of that. Hold on to this one." She drifts away to greet other guests, and Cristiano guides me toward the bar. "Wine?" he asks. "Please, something strong." He orders for both of us, and when the bartender slides 2 glasses of champagne across the bar, Cristiano hands me one. "To surviving the first 15 minutes, he says quietly, clinking his glass against mine. "To only having 5 hours and 45 minutes to go." I take a long sip, and the bubbles burn pleasantly on the way down. Over the next hour, we circulate. I meet cousin after cousin, uncle after uncle, family friends whose names I immediately forget. Each time, Cristiano introduces me with his hand possessively on my back or my waist, his body language screaming mine without him saying a word, and I play my part. I smile. I laugh at appropriate moments. I reference my fictional degree program at Columbia, my made-up thesis on Renaissance altarpieces, my imaginary volunteer work. I ask polite questions about other people's lives, deflect invasive questions about my own, and lean into Cristiano's touch in ways that suggest intimacy without being inappropriate. It's exhausting. "You're doing great," Cristiano murmurs during a rare moment when we're alone. "My grandmother wants to meet you." "Your 92-year-old grandmother who sees everything?" My voice pitches higher than I intend. "She's harmless. Mostly." He guides me toward a woman seated in a chair that might as well be a throne. She's tiny, white-haired, wearing black lace and more diamonds than I've ever seen on one person. "Nonna," Cristiano says, bending to kiss both her cheeks. "Ti presento Harper. Harper, questa è mia nonna." The old woman's eyes, still sharp, still intelligent despite her age, fix on me with laser focus. "Lei parla italiano?" she asks. "Un po'," I say carefully. "A little. It's about the extent of my Italian." She switches to English, heavily accented. "You are the girl my grandson brings to family wedding, the first girl in 5 years." "I'm honored to be here, ma'am." "Ma'am," she laughs sharp and quick. Very polite, very American. Her gnarled hand reaches out, catches mine. "You love him?" The question catches me off guard. I look at Cristiano, whose expression is carefully neutral. "I care about him very much," I say carefully. "Care." She waves dismissively. "Care is for pets. I ask if you love him." This wasn't part of the rehearsal. This wasn't in the script. I'm supposed to show affection but not devotion, interest but not love. But this woman is staring at me like she can see straight through to my bones, and I have the distinct feeling that lying to her would be a mistake. "I don't know yet," I say honestly. "It's still new, but I think I could, if he lets me." Something shifts in her expression. Approval, maybe. She pats my hand. "Good answer, honest." She looks at Cristiano. "This one is smart. Don't be stupid, Cristiano. Stupid men die alone." "Si, nonna." "Yes, grandmother." She releases my hand, waves us away. "Go. Enjoy wedding. Dance later. I want to see you dance with her." We escape, and I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. "I think she liked you," Cristiano says. "She terrified me." "She terrifies everyone. That's how she's survived this long in this family." He checks his watch. "Ceremony starts in 10 minutes. We should find our seats." The ceremony is beautiful, traditional Catholic Mass, all in Italian, with the bride looking like something out of a fairy tale, and the groom openly crying when she walks down the aisle. I watch Cristiano watch his cousin, and I see genuine affection there. Love, even. He's not the cold crime lord I've been imagining. He's a man who loves his family, who showed up for his cousin's wedding, who's trying to build something better than what he inherited. Halfway through the ceremony, his hand finds mine, and I let him lace our fingers together. It feels natural now. Easy. Maybe too easy. The reception is a blur of food and wine and dancing. Cristiano keeps me close, his hand never leaving my back or my waist, and we move through the crowd like we've been doing this for years instead of hours. "Harper!" A man around Cristiano's age approaches, grinning. I finally get to meet the woman who's tamed the beast. "Luca!" Cristiano's voice holds warning. "Congratulations, Isabella looks beautiful." She does. Luca is still grinning, slightly drunk, radiating happiness. "But I want to know about Harper. You've been keeping her a secret." "I don't keep secrets," Cristiano says. "I keep my private life private." "Same thing in this family." Luca extends his hand to me. "I'm Luca, the groom, the reason we're all here." "Harper?" I shake his hand, smiling. "Congratulations on your marriage. The ceremony was beautiful." "You understand Italian?" He looks delighted. "A little, enough to follow along." "She studied art history," Cristiano supplies. "She speaks enough Italian to discuss Renaissance paintings." "And to eavesdrop on your family's dinner conversations," I add, which makes Luca laugh. "I like her," he tells Cristiano. She's got a sense of humor. That's important with you. You're way too serious. Someone has to be, Cristiano says dryly. We talk for a few more minutes before Luca is pulled away by another guest, and then it's just Cristiano and me again, swaying slightly to the music that started, a live band now playing Italian love songs. Dance with me, Cristiano says. It's not a question. He leads me to the dance floor, pulls me into his arms, one hand on my waist, the other holding mine, our bodies close but not quite touching. We move together, and I'm surprised by how well he dances, smooth, confident, leading me effortlessly. You're good at this, I say. My mother insisted I learn. She said a man who can't dance is a man who can't seduce. He spins me gently, pulls me back. She was probably right. Was she trying to raise a heartbreaker? She was trying to raise a gentleman. I chose my own path after that. His hand tightens slightly on my waist. You're doing beautifully tonight, Harper. My family loves you. They love the version of me we created. Maybe. Or maybe they love the real you and you're too defensive to see it. He's quiet for a moment, and when he speaks again, his voice is softer. You were honest with my grandmother. When she asked if you loved me, I didn't know what else to say. She was looking at me like she'd know if I lied. She would have. He pulls me closer until our bodies are pressed together, until I can feel his heart beating against mine. What you said, about thinking you could love me if I let you, did you mean that? Cristiano? It's a simple question. It's not. I pull back enough to look at his face. This isn't real. We're playing roles. In a few hours, this is over. And if I didn't want it to be over? My heart stops. What? You heard me. His pale green eyes are intense, searching. What if I wanted to keep seeing you, not as an employee, not as a transaction, just seeing you? You can't be serious. Why not? Because I'm your housekeeper. Because you hired me for this. Because everything about tonight is fake. I'm spiraling and I know it, but I can't stop. Because men like you don't actually want women like me. We're from different worlds, Cristiano. So? His thumb traces small circles on my waist. Maybe I'm tired of my world. Maybe I want something real instead of the performance I've been giving my whole life. The song ends. Another begins. We keep dancing. You don't know me, I say finally. I know you work yourself to exhaustion because you're afraid of being poor again. I know you're brilliant and defensive and so goddamn stubborn that you'd rather suffer than ask for help. I know you pretend you don't care what people think, but you care so much it's killing you. I know ... quote. Stop. I pull away from him, and we're standing in the middle of the dance floor, other couples moving around us. This isn't part of the deal. Fuck the deal. His voice is rough. I'm telling you what I want. The question is what you want. What do I want? I want to pay my rent. I want to stop living paycheck to paycheck. I want to finish the degree I started. I want to stop being invisible. I want him to kiss me like he means it. I want my $4,000, I say instead. I want to finish this job and go home. Something shudders in his expression. Fine, we'll finish the job. He takes my hand, leads me off the dance floor, and for the rest of the reception, we play our parts perfectly. We smile, we laugh, we pose for photos with his family. We cut a piece of cake together and feed it to each other while his aunt coos about how sweet we are. And when it's 10:30 and Cristiano says it's time to leave, I gather my clutch and say goodbye to people I'll never see again, and I don't let myself look back. The drive back to the hotel is silent. Cristiano's jaw is tight, his hands grip the steering wheel harder than necessary, and I stare out the window at the dark countryside passing by. When we reach the suite, he goes directly to his bedroom. I'll have your money in the morning, he says without looking at me. Thank you for your services. The door closes. I stand alone in the living room, still wearing the emerald green dress, and I feel something crack in my chest. He meant it. On the dance floor, when he said he wanted to keep seeing me, he meant it. And I panicked. I pushed him away because I'm so used to people leaving that I do it first, before they can hurt me. I'm an idiot. I knock on his bedroom door. Cristiano. Go to bed, Harper. Can we talk? We're done talking. I panicked. I press my palm against the door. On the dance floor, when you said you wanted to keep seeing me. I panicked because I've spent 3 years making sure I don't need anyone, and suddenly you're standing there offering me something real, and I don't know how to do real. I only know how to survive. Silence. I'm sorry, I say quietly. I'm sorry I pushed you away. I'm sorry I reduced this to a transaction when you were trying to give me more. I'm sorry. The door opens. Cristiano stands there, still in his suit pants and dress shirt, the collar unbuttoned, sleeves rolled up. He looks exhausted. Don't apologize for protecting yourself, he says. I shouldn't have pushed. I knew the deal going in. But what if I don't want the deal anymore? The words tumble out before I can stop them. What if I want to see where this goes? For real this time? He stares at me for a long moment. You don't mean that. I do. Harper, I know all the reasons this is a bad idea. I know we're from different worlds. I know you're involved in things I probably don't want to know about. I know this could end badly. I take a breath. But I also know that I felt more like myself tonight, pretending to be with you, than I have in years. And that scares me. But not as much as walking away and wondering what if. He reaches out, cups my face in his hands. I can't promise you easy. My life is complicated. There are things about me, about my family, that could put you in danger. I'm already in danger. I'm 1 bad week away from homelessness. I'm drowning in debt. I'm exhausted and alone and barely surviving. I cover his hands with mine. At least with you, I'd be drowning in something that feels real. He kisses me then. Not the chaste forehead kiss from yesterday, not the brief, appropriate kiss he described. This is real. Hungry and desperate and so full of want that my knees go weak. I kiss him back, threading my fingers through his hair, pressing myself against him. He backs me into the living room, his hands sliding down to my waist, then lower, pulling me flush against him. Are you sure? He murmurs against my lips. I'm terrified, I admit. But yes. He kisses me again, deeper this time, and I lose myself in the taste of him. Wine and want and something darker that I should probably be afraid of, but I'm not. When we finally break apart, both breathing hard, he rests his forehead against mine. So what now? I ask. Now I take you home tomorrow, give you your money. All of it because you earned it. And then I call you Monday and ask you on a real date, one where you're not playing a role, one where we figure out if this thing between us is real or just adrenaline. And if it's real, then we navigate it together, slowly, carefully. Because you're right, this could be a disaster. But it could also be something worth fighting for. He kisses my temple. But first, you sleep. Guest room, separate beds. Because I need you to trust that I'm serious about this, that it's not just about sex or possession or filling a role. Cristiano. Trust me, he says again. Get some sleep. Tomorrow, we start figuring out what real looks like. I don't want to go to the guest room. I want to stay here, in his arms, pretending this fairy tale doesn't have to end. But he's right. If this is going to be real, it needs to start with trust. Okay, I say. Tomorrow. I go to the guest room, peel off the emerald dress, wash off the expensive makeup. I lie in bed in my old t-shirt staring at the ceiling, my lips still tingling from his kiss. Tomorrow, I'll go back to my real life. Back to the diner, the cleaning jobs, the constant hustle. But Monday, I'll answer when he calls. And maybe, just maybe, this impossible thing will turn into something real. 8 weeks later, the eviction notice is gone from my door. So are the collection calls, the check engine light, the constant low-level panic that's defined my life for 3 years. Cristiano paid me the full $4,000 that Sunday morning, plus another $2,000 for emotional distress that I tried to refuse, and he insisted I take. $6,000 bought me breathing room. Time to figure things out. But more than that, it bought me him. We went on that first real date the following Monday. Coffee at a place in the village that I chose, followed by a walk through Washington Square Park that he suggested. We talked for 4 hours. About real things this time, my unfinished degree, his complicated relationship with his family's business, my fear of needing people, his fear of becoming his father. Second date was dinner at a small Italian place where he knew the owner. Third date was a gallery opening where I told him his interpretation of a piece was pretentious bullshit and he laughed. Fourth date was the night he told me he was falling for me. Fifth date was the night I believed him. Now it's been 8 weeks and I've quit one of my jobs, still cleaning houses but only 3 days a week because Cristiano hired me as his actual housekeeper with a salary that's 3 times what I was making. I'm taking online classes toward finishing my degree. I sleep more than 4 hours a night. And twice a week, I stay over at his house. In his bed, not the guest room. "You're thinking too loud," Cristiano says, pulling me closer against his chest. We're in his bed Sunday morning, and neither of us has anywhere we need to be. "I'm thinking about that wedding," I admit, about how terrified I was. And how stupid I was to almost walk away from this. He tilts my chin up, kisses me slowly. "You weren't stupid. You were protecting yourself. There's a difference. I'm glad you didn't give up on me. I'm glad you decided I was worth the risk." He brushes hair from my face. "My cousin is having an anniversary party next month. Luca and Isabella. 1 year. That was fast. Will you come with me? As my actual girlfriend this time, not my paid date." I smile against his chest. "Do I get to keep the dress?" "You can keep anything you want." He's quiet for a moment. "But Harper? This time, when my grandmother asks if you love me, what will you say?" My heart skips. We haven't said those words yet. We've been careful, taking it slow, making sure this is real and not just the aftermath of adrenaline and attraction. But lying here in his arms, in the house I clean, but now also call home, with the man who saw past my circumstances to the person underneath, I know the answer. "I'll tell her the truth," I say quietly. "That yes, I love you. That I think I started falling that first night when you offered me $4,000 and saw me as more than just your housekeeper." He's quiet for so long I think maybe I said too much, moved too fast. Then, "I love you too, Harper Sloan, my fake girlfriend who turned into the realest thing in my life." He kisses me, and it tastes like truth and future and the kind of happiness I never thought I'd deserve. Outside, the morning sun rises over the estate. Tomorrow I'll clean bathrooms and scrub floors. I'll attend class via Zoom. I'll count tips at the diner and budget for textbooks. But today, I'm just Harper, lying in the arms of the man I love, grateful for the fake arrangement that turned into something beautifully, impossibly real. Sometimes the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes you have to pretend to be someone you're not to discover who you really are. And sometimes the man who offers you $4,000 for one night turns out to be worth so much more.